Hi everybody, happy HBK Wellness Wednesday. Master Trainer Kiona Leah back with you guys again. And tonight we are 100% being influenced by questions that we have gotten today in the Yes We Can group about muscle problems. Now, these are not our typical muscle problems, but these are locked muscles, sore muscles, pain spots we just cannot get rid of. I did one really super long post about unlocking the back when you just can't get that mid to low back to move. And the next one that I saw later in the evening was all about the shoulders and issues behind the shoulder blade. In both of these responses, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about were Yammuna Balls, which sound funny. Believe it or not, the woman, Yammuna, is the same age as Teresa Tapp, developed her program for rehabilitation and helping the body help itself, anti-aging and things of that nature, all around and along the same timeline. It utilizes a lot of work with dancers and others, but it's very different. And I started using the Yammuna Balls and some of the pieces of this workout easily a dozen or so years ago. So we're going to talk a little bit about these. I'm going to tell you guys why I like these much better than a foam roller or a lacrosse ball. I saw somebody talk about that they ordered a lacrosse ball, and we're going to talk about the distinction between that. Over here on my little display, I have a little constellation of Yammuna Balls, which is part of what I love about them, is the fact that they come in all these different sizes. Unfortunately, I had another one and I can't find it, and she was my favorite. So I might have to order another one for myself, because it might have, after all these years of use, finally lost its air and not been able to hold it anymore. But regardless, we're going to talk about these guys, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how to use them, or at least how I use them, to release those stuck areas like my shoulder blade, like my mid back, and especially like my hips. So I'm going to slide on back here so I'm closer to my constellation, and we're going to go over these. Now, first off, I'm going to distinguish the differences in the colors to some degree, help to determine the heaviness of the ball and how much they can use. The white ones, these two, are actually from the face ball system within the Yammuna. So this is actually the Save Your Face ball. This little one I would not put my body weight on at all. It's very light. It's nice and soft for using on your face to help keep the bones in proper alignment and rebuild collagen. Fantastic little guy, but you don't want to necessarily put this under your hip or shoulder blade. It's not likely to stay together. The white one that comes with that little guy is meant to, and this is a great one, if we're looking at shoulder issues. You can use this ball, and it goes along with the other ball. You're supposed to use them both together, but you can use this one by itself if you need to. I'm going to slide this way, and I'm going to roll on down, laying down. And what I'm going to do with this ball is I'm going to put it right up here underneath my occipital ridge. You're going to feel for that bump on the back of your head. You're going to put it right up in there. Now, from here, what I'm going to do is, once I get into this position, I have several options. If I'm trying to release the shoulders, I can let those shoulders drop back down to the floor. Inhale, expanding my ribs 360 up, sides, and pushing into the ground. Exhale. As my ribs collapse down, I'm going to feel the weight of my head dropping as well. This is going to start to give me slight traction in my neck. From there, again, just like I talked about on our HBK Walking Wednesday in Yes We Can Life, you have to find for your body what actually works the best and the most accurately. So you may need more space between these vertebrae in your neck, which means what you're going to want to do is slowly over time, you're going to want to scooch away from the ball so that it rolls onto that occiput and it lengthens your neck and tucks that chin down. So notice how it's automatically tucking my chin in for me. This is giving me more length and space back here, and that's going to start to allow my shoulders to naturally drop away. We always talk about how we wear our shoulders as earrings, right? This is going to allow me to do that. I'm going to scooch again. I tuck. Notice how I'm tucking and keeping everything in alignment. I would add those big breaths, inhaling and exhaling. Notice that chest collapsing. That's going to put more weight and allow more traction here. Now, you may have the opposite issue where your chin is tucked too much. Frequently that happens. People's chins are tucked, they're looking down at a phone or something like this, and we want to go the other way. So I'm going to go back to neutral first, because this is where you would start, and you'd want to come back to neutral, feeling that right underneath the occipital ridge, and then you can feel that other ridge right on the back of the shoulder blades. Inhale. Now I'm going to go the other way, again, nice and slowly, and let the ball roll, roll, roll until my head starts to tilt back. Now you may notice an opening in your ears if you've got issues through here. Inhale. Expand that whole rib cage. Exhale. Again, you can just push slightly with your feet and slide back, and then let the head, again, stretch over the ball. This is now allowing my neck to stretch more open in the front, and it's lifting my chest, which can open that up. Inhale. Exhale. And you can roll one more time. I did a little bit of a lift here to make sure nothing got caught, and I'm really one vertebrae at a time, making sure each of the vertebrae stretches back. The nice thing about this type of head tilt is it's supported by the ball, so I'm going to ensure that I'm not crunching these vertebrae. So that can make a humongous difference for those shoulders to start dropping them away from the neck and the ears and creating space all through here. This is, again, just like its white counterpart for your face, a nice soft ball. Doesn't dig in super hard, which again, if you're in a lot of pain, that's why you don't want a lacrosse ball. You don't want to aggravate the system and make it worse, cause the body to tighten more. You're trying to get it to release. You're trying to coax it into doing this. So that is where this ball can come in really handy. It is strong enough to support more of your body weight. So if you end up wanting to put it under a shoulder blade and leaning here, you can do that kind of stuff. But when I start doing more body weight, I like to use my medium ball. This is the green ball. This is a medium heaviness. Notice it is the same diameter. Pretty much. It might be a tiny bit bigger than the white ball. So you can use it similarly on the neck if you don't want something quite so soft. You'll notice that I don't have them fully inflated. That is on purpose. You want them to, again, give a little so that they melt. They will start to help the bone structure move into place. If they're too tight, the muscle structure is going to tighten around them and it's not going to move. This is more like what I would use, and I'm going to turn to my back to you here. I'm going to put it kind of right up underneath that shoulder blade. And again, I'm going to roll on back. And then I'm going to start with it in the center. And I'm doing this on purpose so you can see where it is on my back. Again, I wouldn't necessarily hold my head up super high to do this, to strain my neck. I'm just making sure you guys can see. So from here, inhale, expand that chest up. Exhale, start to sink. Notice how all of me sank into the ball. Inhale. Exhale, I'm sinking again. Now I have options once I do this. I can now roll out, so I can move my arm out and I can roll this way, which is going to push that ball towards the outer part of my shoulder and back. I can roll down. Let me give you a side view on that one so you can see it a little bit better. So I can roll away. Now it's rolling up towards my head. If I do this, one of the other things I will start to do is lean my head back. So that gives my chest opening a huge, huge thing. We're going to get to that in a second too. Inhale. Exhale again. I could move further, and notice I am letting the weight of my body and the digging into the ball hunch this shoulder. And boy, can you feel that right here underneath that armpit where that comes together. A lot of times we've got a massive trigger point right there. Rolling back down. If the low back is the issue, I can go the other way and I can roll this way. Let me move my arm out of the way. So now I don't need my arms out to the side. I can bring them down or I can put them on my chest and I can roll more this way. Again, allowing myself to rest and arch over that ball. If the mid to low back is your issue, you start basically in the same place on the spine and you do those same breaths. Exhale. And again, I usually use a couple breaths to get all the way to that sort of relaxed position. Now again, I can roll this way so it goes up towards my head, or I can roll the other way and go down. Inhale, exhale. Again, right here, I'm going to turn to the side because my head's going to come off the screen anyway. From here, again, I would potentially lift up. I lifted my butt entirely. I would roll, and then I would let it release back down, especially if your low back is what bothers you. Inhale. Exhale. Feel that weight. And again, you can roll laterally from your spine, out, 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 to the sides to start spreading across those muscle fibers and releasing them that way. A lot of times massaging with the muscle fibers helps, but going across can also make a big difference if they're super, super locked up and they will not move. Back to the center. And again, I can roll all the way down. This is also phenomenal if you've got hip issues to start right at the tailbone or right to one side of the tailbone, slide over and then let leg release. And then again, I can slide out. I can come up on it further onto the sits bone and slide out. So fantastic, fantastic way for releasing the body really gently. Use your breath to do this. Just how I showed you guys with the white ball when I did my neck and a little bit on this one. You really, really, really want to take your time. Use your breath. Use that diaphragmatic pump in the body to help open and release everything. So that is the medium weight ball. The most digging in that you can get from any ball in the Yammuna system is the black one. These actually come in pairs. Unfortunately, this one's little buddy, I lost him about 8 or 9 years ago now that it's amazing it's been that long, but it's been about 8 years since I lost his buddy. But he's still going strong and he still works great. This one is going to dig in. Now, the nice thing about having the pair is that you can go on either side of your spine with the pair, which unfortunately I do not have the ability to do anymore. These dig in. This is some of the heaviest fabric that she has, so it gives the least. It's going to dig in further. It's going to move those muscles. It's going to move those bones much more. And you can do exactly the same thing that I just did, especially up here underneath this shoulder blade. I'm going to do my other side, so I'm going to do my left side this time. Here, here, here. Inhale. Exhale. Notice how I'm going downward with my breath, and I'm going to give myself 2 breaths. Inhale. And on the second one is when I let everything relax fully. And then I give myself an additional breath. Inhale. In this position to really let things release. From here is when I start moving, either sliding myself down so the ball rolls up my shoulder, sliding out so it starts to hike up the shoulder. You can really feel those pinpoints when you do out. Remember, we can really get a benefit from this by putting those arms out in that straight out position. As I roll out, it really lifts that arm up and out. And of course, I can go down, 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 down the spine as well. So this one is fantastic if you have both of them. If you have the original set, this one is absolutely fantastic to do one on either side of your spine. It is very much like doing your own rolly chair. A lot of those shiatsu massage chairs that have the spinning balls that go up and down on either side of your spine. But you get to choose the pace and you get to use your breath to make those benefits happen. The last of the balls that I unfortunately don't have one in hand that I can demonstrate with is the heaviest of them, and it's the silver ball. It is actually slightly larger than this one. It's probably about another inch or so in diameter, and that one is really great for the hips and to get your whole back, because it's wide enough if you put it at the center that it pretty much fits between those two shoulder blades on just about all of us. So those are, and there's a gold ball as well. That's a soft version in the large size. So there's lots of them. I will put links below to at least get you guys started on how to do your Amazon search. They're all available on Amazon.com, so they're super easy to get a hold of. There are other versions of these guys out there from other manufacturers that may be less expensive. I cannot vouch for the quality. Like I said, I have had these guys for a dozen years or more, which is fantastic. They were not inexpensive when I bought them. They still cost the same amount from what I have seen, but they last a very long time, and they do come with their own little pumps when you get them. So you will get a little pump. I've got like 3 of them. And you can use them to refill them because they do naturally lose air when you use them frequently. One last thing I almost forgot. When we have shoulder issues, a lot of the times it's because we're hunched and crunched forward and we need to open up the chest. You saw me put the ball behind me and lay back to let gravity open my chest. But I can also do this in the front on my stomach. This is where we can also relate to our belly camp this week as well. So I can come here, right on the breastbone, and I can come down and I can now let this spread that breastbone area out. Again, you can have the arms up, inhale, exhale, let yourself sink, and again, you want to let that head drop. Inhale, exhale. You can also bring those arms out to the side, either straight or in your T, doesn't matter. And from there, inhale. You can roll off the center to start spreading out those pecs. Again, if we create space on the back of the body, from the spine to the shoulder blade, if we create space going this direction, part of what that can do is round us in this way. We want to be open in both directions. We want all of this to go this direction. So you want to also make sure that you spread out the front of the body as well. These guys can also be used on the belly below the ribs. You can start at those hips, lean on those hips, and start to do organs in place using a ball while laying down. So this relates to our belly camp. If you're really finding you cannot feel this in organs in place, this is a great tactile feedback way to do that. But with that viscera in the center of your body, I don't think I'd want to do that with a lacrosse ball. Something larger, wider, and softer is much safer for gently helping move that viscera to release those adhesions that are holding those positions in place. So just like last week, I think I might have talked a little long compared to our normal videos, but I hope that this information was super helpful for you and that you find benefit for how to use these little balls or others rather than a foam roller to help release those muscles. Another great way you can do this is to kind of take a towel and ball it up, roll it up, and then fold it. So you end up with something that sort of approximates this rounded shape. All right, you guys. So we got to, in a very roundabout way, how we can use this for our belly camp as well. What do we want to talk about next week? Next week, we are talking about more sugar busters. So we're probably going to talk about some of those sneaky sugars or some of those low carb, no carb options that I highly recommend or use myself. But in the meantime, don't forget to comment below, like, share, subscribe to all my social media channels. And in the meantime, I'm Kiona Leah. I want to see you move, live, and thrive. So I'll see you on the next one.